Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome to another video and Happy New Year. It is January 3rd, 2022, and with the new year, of course, I have to talk about a New Year's resolution of mine, and that is just to be more intentional with my time. As owner-operators owning a trucking business, I'm sure you all can relate. The last thing we have is time, especially if you all are driving 11 hours a day. You're working hard. I'm sure you're exhausted at the end of the day and on the weekends. And the last thing you want to do is be efficient with your evenings and your weekends. But that is my New Year's resolution, to be more efficient with my 8 p.m. to my 10 p.m. So that's enough of my New Year's resolution. Happy New Year to you all. Now let's start looking at how much money we made back in December. Okay, so for the month of December, my driver, he drove from the 1st until the 23rd. So he took the whole last week of December off. So my sales there, $16,200 of revenue. That's top line revenue for my trucking company. Not good, not bad, not great. It could have been better. One big discrepancy, and I don't want to get too lost in the details here, but that 16,000 is not the actual number of deliveries that I made, only because of one load that was $4,400 that I delivered in November, but the broker didn't have enough credit at my factoring company. So I actually ended up getting paid, but I'm still not happy with how much revenue we're able to pull in. I really am working with my dispatcher and my driver. We need to get 2,500 miles every week. We need to be making $5,000 every week, and we're just not quite there yet. I'm not going to give up yet on my dispatcher. I'm going to stick with him. So dispatch fees, that 1,375, that is exactly 10% of the total revenue. And I'm going to give my dispatcher a couple more months. Hopefully we can get to $5,000 a week. The issue is I see other drivers, I see other dispatchers talking like they're making $6,000, $7,000 a week, but you never know if it's true or not. So I don't want to fire my dispatcher. I don't want to leave my dispatcher without a couple more months of time. I just want to see if we can make it work. But I am paying him 10%. So one option that I do have is maybe I could start dispatching myself and save that 10%. That certainly would make my business a lot more profitable. I want to talk about one thing real quick, specifically setting up daily or weekly or even monthly meetings. So I'm bringing this up right now because it's about 5 p.m. and I usually call my dispatcher, not every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, right at 5 p.m., right when I'm leaving the gym. And it's just great to touch base with my dispatcher because he is the one planning the route for my driver. I just want to see, hey, what's going on today? Did you book a load? Did you not? Where is he going? What's going on tomorrow? Just to touch base real quick. It doesn't matter how busy you are as a business owner. I think it's important to always set up meetings with your team, your customers, your clients, your employees. Driving, I pay my driver 55 cents per mile, so he made a little over $4,000 in December, which is almost exactly 25%, because on average my loads are right above $2 a mile. So if I pay my driver 55 cents a mile, he's basically getting 25% of the revenue. And then here's the killer, and I have a plan going forward. So hotel fees, I paid $1,725 in 23 days just on hotels. And there's really no way around this without a sleeper cab. I need to reimburse him some way, but I've made a change. We're making a change moving forward starting this month in January. Instead of going OTR for 20 days, instead of staying out 7 days a week, in order to cut hotel costs down, I'm going to have him just go out Monday through Friday. So he'll leave Monday morning, he'll be home Friday afternoon. That way I can save 3 nights of hotels, which right there, that'll be saving me $200 a week. So hopefully by him just going out Monday through Friday, I'll only pay for 4 hotels, drastically decrease my hotel expense. Hopefully that'll help me save money, expenses, but I'm worried that it's going to inhibit my dispatcher from being able to find good, reliable loads. So we'll see if he can do it this month, Monday through Friday, home every weekend. It'll be better for my driver. It'll be better, for him and his happiness, because being over the road for 20 days in a box truck is not good for anybody. Here's a little tip, a little trick that works for me, and I recommend you try it too. Set up a system for communicating with your vendors and your employees And also set up a similar system to pay your drivers, your vendors, your dispatcher, your contractors, your employees. Big companies run payroll every single week on the same day. But if you're just starting out as a small company, you might only have one driver, you might have one employee, you might have one independent contractor. Maybe you work with a dispatcher, a fuel card. But even though you're a small company, you still need to have these processes and these systems in place. What I do every single Wednesday is I pay my fuel card, I pay my dispatcher, and I pay my driver. My dispatcher sends me an invoice every single Monday, and it's due on Friday. So on Wednesday, I take his invoice, I check it to make sure it's accurate, and then I go to my bank and set up an ACH transfer. I don't write checks, I just do an ACH transfer, and I set it up for Thursday so that it shows up in his checking account every single Friday. Same thing with my driver. I'll look at the week before, I'll look at all the rate cons, I'll look at his ELD, and I'll see where he drove, how far he drove, whether or not he stayed in a hotel, and I'll use an Excel worksheet every single week, and I'll enter in his pickup location, his drop-off location, on what day, how many miles he drove. And then I use that worksheet not only for my records, but then I also send it to him every single Wednesday so he knows, full transparency, what he's getting paid for, how many miles he drove, how many nights he should have stayed in a hotel. And the same thing I do with my dispatcher, I set up automatic ACH payments on Thursday so the money arrives every single Friday at the same time. That does two things. It makes it easy for you as the business owner because you're establishing a routine. You're never going to miss a bill if you're paying your bills every single Wednesday or Thursday. And then second, your employees, your vendors, and your contractors are going to be happy because they know you're reliable. They know that you're going to pay on time. They don't need to keep asking you, questioning you, hey, when are you going to mail that check? Hey, did you get my invoice? Hey, are you going to pay? But the point is just set up a system, develop a process now while your business is small and young and not too complicated, because I promise you, your business is going to grow quickly. You're going to hire more drivers. You're going to have more vendors, more contractors. It's going to get more complicated. So you want those systems in place now. So when you grow and scale your business, you're just adding people. You're just adding. And then fuel. We had an issue where my driver was keeping the truck idling for too long, and luckily I was able to catch it. The ELD, Keep Trucking, does a really great job of giving you idle reports. So I would check in on your drivers, make sure they're not idling the truck all night or for extended periods of time. I know it's getting cold, but that's why I pay my driver a hotel stipend every day. That way he can get a hotel if he wants. He doesn't have to sit in the truck all night, freezing cold. I give him that $75 a night for the hotel with the expectation that he's not idling the truck all night. So I did notice that my miles per gallon were a little low for a couple weeks, and I found out that he was idling the truck while he was sitting in it just to stay warm, and I let him know, hey, we can't do that. Not only is it very bad for the engine in the truck, but also obviously you're wasting money on fuel. So we did spend a little bit extra on fuel, but that's still not really going anywhere. I average about 7 to 9 miles per gallon, and diesel averages like $3.60 all the way up to $4 a gallon. So whenever you're running your calculations for cost per mile, I would use 7 or 8 miles per gallon and then 360 to 380 for your cost per fuel per gallon. And get with your fuel card. I use Fuelman. They give me great reports every week. They give me great details every week and every month on fuel consumption, and I'm always looking at that information. I'm always adjusting my CPM calculators based on that information. So if you're not looking at those reports, I highly recommend you start looking at those reports from your fuel company. And that's another reason why it's really helpful for me. I have all of my fuel consumption coming from the same fuel card. That way the reports are 100% accurate because my driver enters in the odometer reading every time he fills up, so I know exactly how many miles he's going, how much fuel he's using, because he's using the Fuelman card every time he fills up. So those reports are really, really helpful for me. So that's fuel right there. So just based on my cost of goods sold, my gross profit is right below $5,000 for the month, which is really, really good. I know I might look and sound terrible. I've had a fever of 102 for the past 2 days, but with that being said, I wanted to share something real quick about loans. I've applied to a bunch of loans recently in the past 2 or 3 weeks, and I've learned a lot of things. And I wanted to share those real quick, especially with regards to lines of credit and loans to buy your truck. The first thing I want to say about lines of credit, I just applied for a line of credit through Wells Fargo, and they barely asked me any questions. They asked about my business. They asked me what my profit is. They didn't actually ask to see any tax returns, to see any financial statements. They basically just took my word for it, and they just did a credit check on me. To my amazement, I got approved for a $20,000 line of credit through Wells Fargo. I don't even have an account with them, and they're charging me 8% annual interest on the line of credit. My plan is to basically use this line of credit instead of my factoring company, because my factoring company charges between 3 and 4% every time you factor an invoice. When you look at an annual percentage rate, that's an insane amount to charge 3 to 4% just on a one-time transfer. So for this line of credit, I'm basically just going to float money to and from my checking account while I wait for the net 30 brokers to pay me. Secondly, I wanted to talk about truck loans. So spoiler alert, I'm applying for a loan to buy a CDL tractor in January. Three things that are holding me back right now. One, I don't have 2 years in business. Two, I don't have my CDL. But three, and this was surprising and interesting, and I don't quite understand this, but I don't have similar installment amounts. So basically, I don't have enough similar debt already to take out a $100,000 loan and pay $2,000 a month. I don't have any loans right now that pay $2,000 a month. I have a mortgage that pays like $1,200 a month, and I have a loan for my box truck that pays like $500 a month, but I don't have any similar loans in the amount of $2,000 a month. So that was just really interesting to me. I guess I need more debt to take on more debt, which just seems counterintuitive. Insurance, that's the same every single month, $1,000. Job supplies, $127 I spent on my ELD. I get charged every 3 months for my Keep Trucking ELD. It's like $40 a month, so they charged me $127 in December for my ELD. I had a pretty good month for repairs and maintenance, only $652, and it was only two different things. One, I got my windshield cracked, so I spent $525 to get my windshield fixed, and then secondly, I had a leak in my ERG hose, and my antifreeze kept leaking. So my driver got like a gallon of antifreeze, and then 2 days later he bought 2 liters of antifreeze. I was like, what's going on? No oil changes in the month of December, just the windshield and the antifreeze. Tolls, $169. I use Easy Pass, and then my driver went to New Mexico and they charged him like $30 just to enter the state. I don't know much about New Mexico, but I guess if you ever go there, they're just going to charge you $30 right off the bat as soon as you enter the state. So I threw that in there on tolls. And then depreciation. I always talk about depreciation. There it is, $360 a month. So you just take the total cost of your truck divided by 60, and that is your monthly depreciation. So the bottom line here, we ended up making $2,000 this month.